Recently, J.K. Rowling has received backlash for comments that she's made on social media. She's made other comments previously for different things that she feels strongly about, but the backlash is even more strong here because it shows her selective outrage and her double standard, and more people are not only upset with her comments, the recent comments, but they're upset with her ignoring many other things but only highlighting this and using it for certain, you could say, motives. She says, if you claim to support human rights yet can't bring yourself to show solidarity with those fighting for their liberty in Iran, you've revealed yourself. You don't give a damn about people being oppressed and brutalized so long as it's being done by the enemies of your enemies. And someone says, you are silent while tens of thousands of women and girls are massacred in Gaza. Your feminism is garbage. And whether J.K. Rowling speaks about feminism or human rights or any other things, or should I say pseudo neo-feminism, it's absolute rubbish. And this is an example. This individual has been silent on Palestine and specifically Gaza and hasn't said anything in support of what's happening and trying to raise awareness and in terms of ceasefires and getting aid in and all these other things. She hasn't said anything about that as far as I'm aware, not a single word. And now she wants to speak about people in Iran and people all of a sudden about human rights, this or these rights and that right. This person is only speaking about selective rights and does not actually care about women or humans, it seems, because then what happened for the last more than 2 years? Where were you? You were nowhere to be seen, and this is just pseudo outrage selectively. And even then, when she decides to speak about what's happening in Iran, if one thing, if all the internet is down, then how do we know all of these things, and how do we know how many people have died, and why do the numbers keep increasing? I'm not supporting Iran here. I'm just saying if we don't have if there's no internet there, then how you manage to know in some numbers that there's 12,000 people who have died or been killed in Iran, for example, and why there's so many people with Israel flags in the UK or in America or elsewhere that are supporting Iran and the protesters in Iran, and also over there in Iran, why the people supporting Israel that are the ones that are protesting and they're burning down places of worship and other things that majority of the time non-Muslims do, particularly Zionists. So all of this about freeing Iran, and then also why don't you look into the history? Who was in charge of Iran pre 1979, and who put them there, and what did those people do, and is it as old fairy tale like as people explain? Because people don't like the government that's there now. The government previously, they're the best government ever in Iran. They were not fairy tale like as you explain, and people like to say all of these things that we're seeing in Iran now, previously it was fine. It was not fine. And people just saying all of this because they want this government to go away, which is that's their opinion, but they don't want to speak with the facts, and they want to remove certain people potentially, and whoever they put in place will not solve anything in Iran either. It will just serve interests in certain countries. That's all it will do. It will not help the Iranian people whatsoever. And this is why many people they want to speak about Iran, not because of it's Iran or because of the people, but it's because of how it helps them. Either way, whether the protests continue or they don't continue, or people get removed or they don't get removed, or whatever else, they don't actually care about the people there. They actually care about using what's happening for their own different reasons, and This is why I have not spoken about Iran, because it's not about I don't know enough about it. Because then plenty of people could say they don't know enough about Palestine. But for me to speak about Iran, I have to find information that's not biased, that's true, that I can cross-reference to know that multiple sources are saying the same thing, to know that it's true. And with the little information that's getting in and out, I have to verify it. And with so many people saying the opposite, and if I say this, then I'm wrong. But if I say the opposite thing, I'm also wrong. So I will speak about Iran, but I'm looking into things, and I will make a video in Iran in due course. But people who speak about Palestine, they're not silent on Iran. They're calculated on Iran. And those same people who want to lecture us about human rights and helping people, and all of a sudden they care about Iran. They were okay with what took place a few months ago, where many Iranians were killed and infrastructure harmed and so many other things because Israel was involved. But now all of a sudden they care about Iran. Why didn't you care about Iran back then? This is why don't just think that they're just supporting the protesters in Iran because they care. They did not care. If they cared, then why were they silent when people were getting killed in Iran before because of Israel? And why are they always silent often for Palestine, and now all of a sudden they actually have a consciousness speaking about Iran? It's not about Iran, it's about pushing their own narratives using Iran.